Group hunts for Sasquatch, Camas, Utah, August 12, 2007. A group of about 45 people spent 2 days in the Winter Mountains searching for the legendary Bigfoot. Members of the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, or BFRO, used sophisticated equipment such as parabolic microphones and night vision goggles to search for the ape-like beast. I founded the organization as a clearinghouse for sightings nationwide of Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch. Those who claim to have seen or heard Sasquatch say it changes them forever. Scott Thyler of Tacoma recounted his 2005 encounter while deer hunting on the coast of Washington.
It's not like watching deer and elk. These creatures don't want to be seen. But when you see one, it changes your life forever.
I was once as close as 15 feet from a Sasquatch in 1994 in Portage County, Ohio.
Story 2. Bigfoot sighting. Letter to the editor.
I am writing in regard to the recent Bigfoot coverage. Yes, I did see Bigfoot, or at least what they call this huge, hairy ape man. I went to Marquette to meet with the BFRO research people, hoping to get some answers about what I saw. It was exciting to finally talk to people who believe this creature exists. But after talking to them, I realized none of them ever saw its face. But I did. I was about 17 years old when I saw this ape-like creature. To me, it seemed like a prehistoric ape man. It stood on the side of the road and looked right at me, like a deer caught in headlights. Its eyes glared red. It was such an eerie feeling, almost unreal. But it was there. He then turned and disappeared into the woods as I sped by in fear. My whole body was shaking. I couldn't believe what I had just seen. Nobody ever believed me. Now I'm 43 years old, and I don't care if anyone believes me because I know I saw something rare and prehistoric, or even extinct. I'll always remember it. I don't believe you can track down or hunt a creature like this. It would be like hunting for an alien. Impossible. It finds you, or you just happen to see it, because I think it doesn't want to be seen. Are there really beings out there that do exist? If so, where do they hide? Are they so primitive that they never want to be seen, except by mistake? We don't really know what this creature is, but I believe it does exist. I saw it here in the UP of Michigan. Sylvie Carrington, Bark River.
Bigfoot Conference in Felton, California. Researchers and eyewitnesses convened to sort fact from fiction about the hairy, scary ape. By Gwen Mickelson, Sentinel staff writer. Felton. They say Bigfoot has a weakness for cinnamon graham crackers. True or not, stories, sightings, and theories will join serious study when researchers, field investigators, eyewitnesses, and others convene in Felton and Santa Cruz to discuss evidence of Bigfoot's existence.
I've seen fresh footprints. To my eye, these footprints were almost as good as seeing the real thing because of the details and the message in that trackway.
Local Bigfoot advocates say sightings and Sasquatch-related incidents have occurred in the Santa Cruz Mountains both recently and in past decades. The search for Bigfoot nationwide seems to be intensifying. Researchers will visit Michigan next month to search for evidence, centering in eastern Marquette County, following a recent eyewitness account, said Matthew Moneymaker of the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. In 27 out of 30 expeditions in the United States and Canada, Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, investigators have either glimpsed Bigfoot or gotten close enough to hear the creature, Moneymaker said. Grover Krantz, a scientist specializing in cryptozoology, believes Bigfoot is a Gigantopithecus, a branch of primitive man believed to have existed 3 million years ago. Mainstream scientists, however, tend to dismiss the study as pseudoscience due to unreliable eyewitness accounts and a lack of solid physical evidence.
For me, it's a way to increase the level of dialogue and discourse. I hope that if I'm talking about this, it will give some pause to other academics who will say, I know Jeff's work in paleontology and physical anthropology, maybe there's something to this.
Meldrum, who is also affiliate curator at the Idaho Museum of Natural History, has made many appearances as a featured expert on TV and radio, including the Discovery Channel, the History Channel, the National Geographic Channel, the Today Show, and National Public Radio. He speaks on the topic regularly and was invited to speak locally by Mike Rugg, proprietor of the Bigfoot Discovery Museum in Felton.
We want to educate the populace that people are seeing these things and they're out there.
Rugg, who has been researching the lifestyles of the big and hairy for more than 50 years, had a Bigfoot sighting himself at age 5 along the banks of the Eel River. The results of his efforts, both humorous and serious, are on display at the museum on Highway 9, which he opened with his wife and fellow Bigfoot aficionado Paula Yar in 2004. Meldrum hears from critics and those who take exception to his evaluation of the evidence.
We're dealing with stories, not plant leaves, not bones, not teeth, stories of something people saw in the wilderness and they can't explain. Anyone familiar with scientific processes and methodologies should see a red flag.
Bigfoot researchers don't have remnants such as bones and teeth.
They don't have a live one, they don't have a dead one.
For Carla Benajam, an instructor of anthropology at Cabrillo College and a Sasquatch enthusiast, Bigfoot Discovery Day sounds like fun. She plans to go with a colleague to hear what Meldrum has to say and to hear some Bigfoot stories.
I think as long as we have myths, we have hope. That's kind of what the human condition is. I'm all for it.
I couldn't stand Bigfoot running around shrieking all night. It was doing it all the time. About 2 weeks ago, my wife saw it at night while she was down by the river. She's been afraid ever since and wanted to leave. Chasing Hawk's consternation over the event is shared by many of Little Eagle's residents who are moving out of town until the situation dies down, including Reverend Angus Long Elk. Long Elk, a Little Eagle resident for the last 5 years, left his home and the trim white clapboard church along the Grand River for the safety of McLaughlin, 14 miles to the north. I heard a noise by my side and turned to look when I saw something between some bushes stand up. It was Bigfoot. While I was close enough to touch it, I can only describe the animal as about 9 feet tall and weighing over 600 pounds. I didn't stay around long enough to find out what it looked like. I turned around and ran for home and didn't look back. Story 4. Bigfoot Invasion Upsets Life in Reservation Hamlet by Mark Kinders, Far West editor. Tribune, Bismarck, North Dakota, November 26, 1977. Many in the remote hamlet of Little Eagle, on the Standing Rock Indian Reservation, believe they are being invaded by several Bigfoot, and they are afraid. Since early September, 3 Gigantopithecus, commonly called Sasquatch or Bigfoot, have haunted the thick scrub cottonwoods that surround and fill Little Eagle's scattered townsite of 60 residents. 28 sightings have been made in the last 2.5 months, according to Gary Alexander, whose general store serves as headquarters for the ensuing Bigfoot hunt. Observations have come at all times of the day and night, from the southern edge of town along the meandering Grand River to the steep bluffs to the north. Creatures have been viewed from as far away as 150 yards and up to 10 feet away during a confrontation. Little Eagle is not alone. The reservation towns of Timber Lake, Trail City, and Eagle Butte to the south, along with Cannonball and Solon to the north, also report Bigfoot sightings. But the unusual frequency of sightings in such a short time span at Little Eagle has attracted nationwide attention from professional and amateur phenomena researchers alike. An anthropologist from the University of Nebraska at Omaha, although twice delayed by winter snowstorms, has promised to visit the site. When he arrives, the Nebraskan will have numerous photographs, castings of footprints, and Bigfoot droppings from near Solon to study, along with a slew of eyewitnesses to interview, enough to fill a busload or 2 busloads. Among them is Lamar Chasing Hawk, who was confronted by a Bigfoot lurking 10 feet away from him. We'll shoot him in the leg, a place that will stop him but will mend easily. Bigfoot pursuing teams are also armed with tranquilizer guns in an attempt to immobilize the animal. Since the proper dose is not known, though, Alexander said, if the creature isn't drugged, we're not out to hurt it. We're all carrying .22 caliber rifles or .22 caliber magnums. We poor Indians can't afford anything bigger than that. Although authorities have asked the hunters not to carry weapons for fear of injuring each other, many still continue to do so. One argues, if it was a person doing that, we'd have caught him by now. Likewise, he can see no reason why someone would attempt to deliberately frighten the townspeople. He notes there are no known mineral deposits or other riches in the area. And if there were a clandestine discovery, the land is held in trust by the Sioux tribe rather than individuals who might be scared into leaving. When we've found tracks in a row, the stride has been 6 to 7 feet apart. It would take 3 men on stilts to make them and get that deep an impression. Bigfoot descriptions have been similar, according to Alexander. Generally, the creatures have been determined to be between 6 to 9 feet tall and weighing from 600 to 900 pounds. Alexander, who has not seen a Bigfoot, says one of the larger animals is reported to be dark in color and the other light. A third Bigfoot reportedly is smaller, at about 6 feet tall and 400 pounds. Although not all 3 have been seen at the same time, during one incident, 2 of the animals were seen by hunters simultaneously to other searchers seeing a third creature at a different location. Searchers have been working each night in 4 to 6 man squads on stakeouts throughout the town and close in on Bigfoot once they hear a telltale shriek. Alexander is convinced the incidents are legitimate. We've got some phenomena around here that the world just won't believe. Meller said one eyewitness described them as having long fingers. On a previous occasion, Meller saw they had red glowing eyes. They knew we had firearms. They were sneaking, but we could tell what they were with binoculars. He explains, they crouched so low in the brush that you could just barely see their outlines. Meller said one of the creatures was black with a beige mantle across its chest and shoulders. The other was pure black. They appeared to be sneaking. We had a couple of Bigfoot crawling around behind and on the side of us, about 50 yards away, illuminated by the campfire and yard light. He describes the vocalizing attempts as chattering, although he claims Bigfoot has successfully said the word hey. LaSalle notes that such abilities by Bigfoot have been rarely experienced and are not documented as fact, but have been reported of the animal in the past, as well as of its third cousins, Mono Grande of the South American Andes Mountains range and the Yeti of the Himalayas. Meller attributes his success to the fact Bigfoot is pretty nosy. Anything that goes on, he just has to see. The animal showed up at the van 2 weeks ago Saturday, and 2 of them appeared twice about 4 a.m. last Wednesday, Meller says. About a dozen women and children set up a campfire and held a party to lure Bigfoot close to the van. Meanwhile, an 8-track stereo was turned up all the way with recordings of female vocalists. They sound a lot like a coyote, but they can give you any sound they want you to hear. No conclusive reason has been offered for the sudden materialization of the animal. Theories include the usual ones associated with Bigfoot phenomena in other states. They are throwbacks to cavemen. They are curious about human activities. They want women and children. They are demonic creatures or the devil incarnate, or they are from outer space. Attempts to document Bigfoot's existence have taken a serious turn. Ed Meller, an unemployed gravel hauler and oil products distributor, has set up a mobile camper equipped with a tape recording system and manned by up to 8 people on Chasing Hawk's property. Meller has discovered a number of curiosities about Bigfoot's behavior that are typical according to Milton LaSalle, a New York State soils engineer who has studied Bigfoot sightings on the east and west coasts for the past 20 years and traveled to Little Eagle last week. Among Meller's findings were that Bigfoot has a tendency to sneak around on all fours when the animal feels threatened instead of walking erect. Of greater interest, though, is Meller and others say they have heard Bigfoot attempt to mimic the human voice. There are far too many witnesses involved in the various sightings for it to be rigged. The sightings are conclusive that it doesn't fit the description of any wildlife native to the area. It's not a bear either, that I'm certain of. LaSalle, the only Bigfoot enthusiast of substantial experience to visit the community, is convinced that something is going on there. There were sightings before, or people now know the shrieks they heard previously weren't from coyotes. They didn't believe it was Bigfoot then. He adds that the creature has been around Little Eagle for several years now. We have an idea what it is, but no comment. It's way beyond your wildest imagination. We've got proof of what it is, but there are a lot of people who don't believe us now when we say that Bigfoot is here. However, he refuses to say why he thinks Bigfoot is invading Little Eagle. With animals that stand up to 10 or 11 feet tall, it would require a drastic costume that over a long sighting period would eventually be seen as a quite obvious fake. But with the smaller Bigfoot, the 6-foot one, it could be a fake. It's the size of a man, and it is quite possible that someone is pulling a hoax in that case. LaSalle says, there is some question in my mind whether the long-distance sightings actually were of Bigfoot, but the other close-up eyewitnesses seemed quite sincere and honest in their stories. I would say that at least a portion of the sightings are genuine. Noting that many sightings took place within 25 yards and up to 3 minutes in duration, LaSalle thinks it would be impossible for someone to be hoaxing the community. I won't say it's a Bigfoot, not until I see it myself. LaSalle also feels that Meller's tapes and castings made of the Bigfoot tracks are either genuine or very good fakes. The footprint castings found by the river, measuring 18 inches long by 8 inches across the ball of the foot, are about what I expect, LaSalle says. The tracks show a double-balled big toe typical of Bigfoot tracks and do not show an opposable toe that large apes use for grasping, but not a common Bigfoot characteristic. The toe size of Little Eagle's Bigfoot is smaller than normal, he adds. LaSalle is not bothered by the fact the sightings only recently began to occur. He notes that there have been a rash of sightings in the last few months across the United States, in California, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, Minnesota, Utah, the Dakotas, and British Columbia, in some instances where Bigfoot has not been reported before. Nevertheless, LaSalle won't conclusively agree that Bigfoot has inhabited the Little Eagle area.
Whether the townspeople will be able to track down and capture a Bigfoot remains to be seen. It is unknown whether last week's heavy snowfall on the Indian reservation will aid the search. There are conflicting opinions as to whether the Bigfoot hibernates. LaSalle thinks the hominids hole up and ride out a storm until it is safe to move about again. Whether the searchers will interfere with each other's efforts also remains to be seen. Several sources have been critical of the Bigfoot chasers, with hints that some stalking it are under the influence of marijuana, that others are treating it as a lark and frightening the creature away when capture opportunities look good, or that evidence that may provide clues as to the animal's habits are being destroyed. Moreover, local residents are wary of some residents who have been periodically firing their weapons at night, either at alleged Bigfoot or to lure it to the town by the disturbance. Also, some stalking the phenomenon are keeping at the hunt for extensive periods, up to 2 days without sleep, manning stakeouts at night and searching for Bigfoot lairs in the daytime. At least one resident who thinks the whole idea of a Bigfoot is ridiculous thinks the search is a nuisance. Lonnie Maxner, 70, complains, "Pickup trucks are tearing around all hours of the night, people are shooting off guns and making noise." Still, he notes, "A lot of my neighbors are afraid of what's happening, and a lot of them are leaving town or talking about going." Conclusion: the mysteries of Bigfoot, fact or fiction. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, the stories of Bigfoot continue to captivate and mystify us. From the brave hunters in Utah, the personal encounter in Michigan, the scientific investigations in California, to the alarming invasion in Little Eagle, these tales highlight the enduring allure and mystery of this elusive creature. If you enjoyed these fascinating Bigfoot dramatized stories from historical accounts, please like and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you never miss an update on more historical encounters and mysterious stories. Thanks for supporting our channel, and please share your opinions and experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and any encounters you might have had with the legendary Sasquatch.